this video, we are going to take a quick look at AngularJS filters. We are going to cover most of the built-in filters which come by default with AngularJS, and in my coming up sessions, we are going to cover custom filters. So what exactly are filters? In simple words, any kind of AngularJS filter usually takes some kind of value or an object in the form of an input and responds back in the form of an output. So usually the response, or say the output of a filter, will be a kind of formatted output or formatted input basically. So whatever the input a filter receives, the filter polishes that input and responds back with a different kind of an result, and that result we are going to call it as output. So filters are mostly used to format the data. For example, you have some date and you would like to have that particular date to be formatted in the form of MMDDYY or DDMMYY or whatever the way you want it. And not only that, sometimes you may want to transform the data, which means I may provide 2, but in fact I might really want the result as 4, say double up the result. Or sometimes I may want to really have some kind of object to be transformed into a completely new different object. And on top of that, we can also literally search for some results or filter the existing data based on the respective filter you are going to use. So these are just the common usages. However, you can really have more and more functionality to be added to your existing filters in the form of custom filters. Filters can be used not only just in views, that is not just in HTML, you can also use them in controllers and also in services. So in simple words, most of the time you will be having those filters to be used in HTML. Why? Because whenever you write expressions, those evaluation expressions of AngularJS, most of the time you will be using those right inside the views. But in fact, there will be situations where you would like to make use of those filters directly inside the controllers whenever you would like to have the respective scope related members to be modified with some kind of data. If such is the case, you can use filters in the controllers as well. And imagine if you'd like to format or transform the data right inside the services before providing that information back to the controllers, probably you can use the filters right inside the services too. So there exists more than one location where you can develop your filters or say use the filters. So those could be directly in your HTML or view or the controllers or even the services. What are all the various types of filters we have? In simple, we have built-in and custom. So the built-ins are the ones which actually come with AngularJS. So which means if you include AngularJS, all those built-in filters are readily available for you. For example, number filtered whenever you'd like to have decimal places or maybe commas and all of that good stuff, probably you can use number. And date, as I mentioned, whenever you'd like to have different format of date to be provided, and whenever you'd like to have search and filter to be provided in the form of options, you can use filter. And you can also have uppercase and lowercase to be done for your particular data automatically by just using any of these two filters. And on top of that, you can also sort your data using order by filter. So these are just a couple of what we already have. And on top of that, you can also develop your own particular custom filters as part of your AngularJS. And this is going to be covered, the custom filters is going to be covered in my coming up sessions. But for now, as part of this session, we are going to concentrate only on the built-in filters available. So let us jump straight into the code. So I have two samples here. One is A01 and A02, and these samples are directly brought from my previous video. And let us quickly check on what exactly are these samples. So I just type in A01, and you can see as part of this, I can provide some kind of information here like 1008 and press search, and that actually gives me some kind of result back. So which means as of now, this is actually getting in touch with Ajax. That is, it gets in touch with REST services where I'm just posting my 1008 as my employee number. My REST service is going to give all this data, and my particular template or my particular view is currently handling that whole data and providing the user in this format. So now you can see I have employee number, name, salary, date, and so on. you can see there are tons of options where I can provide some kind of formatting for this particular data. For example, for salary, I might want a dollar symbol here, probably, and even as this is salary, I might even need to have some kind of decimal places here, like .00. And not only that, you can see this date and time. You can see currently this is fictitious. You can see date of birth. I also have time here. So you can see this is not really acceptable by any user from the terms of user experience. So I need to really format this one as well. So in order to format this kind of data, I would like to use filters in our case. So let us switch back to our particular sample. In this case, it is A01. So let me jump back to A01.html right here. So let me do whatever the best I could do. So before even jumping here, if you'd like to know more about the AngularJS filters, probably it is worth for me to show something relative directly from the documentation. So let me open Firefox here. Okay, so you can just type in something like AngularJS filters, and right here you are going to see AngularJS filters here. So you can just click on that one, and you are going to see right down inside the left panel, you are going to see a filters section right here. So these are all the default filters which actually come with AngularJS. Those are the built-in filters, and you can see I have date, uppercase, lowercase, number, filter, and so on. So let us see uppercase for now. So now you can see all you have to do is, if you are using in your HTML template, that is if you are using an AngularJS evaluation expression, this is your binding variable, like your scope member, and all you have to do is provide a pipe and provide your filter name, like uppercase or lowercase or any of such. And if you'd like to use the same kind of filter in your controller or in your service, this is the way you are going to use. So I'm going to show you both. So let us start with uppercase first. So I go in here and imagine I would like to have my particular employee name to be always displayed in the form of an uppercase. So I go back to my particular HTML file, and here you can see this is where I'm having the employee name to be displayed, and all I'm going to say is just pipe and use uppercase. So which means this is the filter which takes employee name as input and polishes or processes that particular input and gives back the result, and that result will be displayed right here. So that is important. So any filter will be usually be taking an input and then polishes it or transforms it or formats it and finally gives back the result, which will be directly displayed right inside this particular evaluation expression. So I just save this and let me refresh this, and now I provide 1008 and click search, and now you can see my particular employee name is automatically made available in the form of uppercase. Similarly, I type in 1009 and you can see I have Peter right here. So that is the quickest way on how you can use a particular filter as part of your HTML. But imagine I would like to use the same thing right inside my controller. So which means I would like to make use of uppercase inside my controller. So I go back here. In this case, imagine I just wanted to remove this whole thing. Why? Because I do not really want it. So I just wanted to make this one available in this way, so that if anyone is downloading my code, they can understand what I'm trying to accomplish here. So I just wanted to use the same thing here. Okay, there you go. So now I would like to use just only employee name. So I turned the previous one into the comment, right? So all I have now is just employee name, no filter applied. However, I would like to have the filter to be applied right from a controller. So I go back here, and now you can see this is my controller, which essentially has my particular employee name. And of course, in this case, the simplest way to actually turn any kind of employee name or any kind of string to uppercase is by using JavaScript function uppercase. But imagine this is a special case and I would like to use $filter exclusively. So for that purpose, as that is also a kind of an service available, I can just make use of that $filter directly as part of my dependency injection here, and all I'm going to use is $filter as part of my controller, and I'm going to say something like I would like to have a new member called ename. So you can see I'm just making use of a different ename member. It doesn't need to be like this, but I just wanted to make sure that it is clearly visible, like it is uppercase employee name. This could be just a variable like a. It doesn't matter whatever you provide here. So I just wanted to provide ename, and as I would like to use the filter right here, I can just say $filter, and which filter I would like to use. I would like to use uppercase. And once I get the filter out of AngularJS, all I have to do is provide whatever the value the filter needs in the form of an input. So what I'm saying is, whatever r.ename I'm using, the same ename I am providing as an input to my filter, and this filter does some processing and it gives back the result, and that particular result will be placed into a new member called employee name, which is in uppercase. So in this case, I would like to use the same employee name here in my HTML as well, so that we are using the same number in both cases. So just refresh this, and now I'm going to say 1008. Oh, there is some kind of problem I'm having, so let me see what I missed. Okay, I'm missing a comma here, so this is a regular mistake of mine. Okay, so let me go back, let me refresh this, 1008, and click search, and now you can see I got that one as uppercase. So whatever the value you provide in here, that will be automatically converted to uppercase. And in this case, I'm actually using that one right inside the controller. But imagine the same thing I would like to use as part of my service. So if such is the case, then I would like to use the same kind of filter right here. So that is going to be used as part of my service. So let me use the same thing as part of my service, and I'm going to say filter, and I would like to use that one as part of my service. So before even sending to my callback function, I would like to modify that particular information right inside my service. So you can say I'm commenting this one, so I don't need any filter anymore here. So this is not going to be used. So you can just remove that if you don't really need to. So I just provide a comma here, and you can also remove this right here. So leaving that alone will not really harm in this case, but as you are not using that service, you can save some resources by not including those. But even if you include but not really using it, will not be really harming your particular application, but if it may take more resources. But in this case, as I am using filter, let me make sure I have filter here. Now I would like to use filter here also. So as part of this, I have my whole data in the form of response.data here. So I use this response.data, and this particular response.data has all those fields: employee number, name, salary, and department number, which I receive as part of my AJAX request here. So once I have all my data, I would like to have directly employee name to be transformed using filter, and again uppercase, and at the same time, just like r.name, I need to provide this entire name, so I can provide this whole thing. So what I'm accomplishing here is I'm getting the result ename, converting to uppercase, and putting into the same member employee name. So which means you don't need another member called ename here. You can just work with whatever the employee name you use it to work with. So I can just go here and let me search for this. So I can just use my normal ename. Why? Because you are replacing your existing ename with uppercase value. So let us see if this is working fine with no problems. So I save this and let us make sure that even this is saved. So I go back to my Angular, sorry, not this, just let me close this. I have this, I refresh this, and now I provide 1008 and click search, and now you can see I have that one right in the form of uppercase. So let me actually comment this one and make sure that it is not doing any uppercase. So I save this, I refresh this, and 1008 and click search, and now you can see it is not doing any uppercasing right there. So in that way, we have seen now on how to use the filter called uppercase in this case. So that particular filter is being used inside the HTML or your template or view, or even in the controller, or even as part of the service itself. So let us have more of such. So for now, I just wanted to uncomment this. So I wanted to comment this one. So just wanted to make sure that we are back to my previous sample 1008, and if I click search, I should have that one in uppercase. Okay, I got everything ready. And the next thing I would like to discuss about here is about the salary. So if you can see my salary, it is like a number, but not really like a kind of a currency. So imagine I would like to have some kind of number to be provided for that one, which means some kind of decimal places. So I can provide some kind of decimal places for that one by directly using a filter called number, and I can say like go with decimal places 2. So this number is actually the name of the filter, just like uppercase. This is the name of the filter, and in this case this is the name of the filter. So for this filter I am providing a parameter called 2, and that filter knows that, oh, this particular salary is already a particular numeric value and it needs some kind of decimal place to be provided, that is 2 in this case. So let me save this, and now once I go back to this one and refresh this, and I provide 1008 and click search, and now you can see it knows that it not only needs to provide the decimal places, but also provide commas in the respective fashion in whatever the way the user really needs. So in this case, the numeric formatting is already and automatically done by AngularJS, and if you'd like to have more options for the numbers, probably you can just check the documentation, just like whatever I have shown earlier. And imagine it is not just the number, but imagine I would like to have some kind of currency to be evaluated, or it's a currency to be formatted. So let me comment this whole thing. Okay, so in this case it is not just the number, but instead I would like to format it in the form of currency. So there is one more filter called currency. So I can just provide currency, and then it actually takes 2 parameters. One is any kind of symbol like dollar or whatever, and at the same time I can also provide how many number of digits you would like to have as part of your number, or say currency. So let me see how this one really shows up. So let me save this, and I go back here and refresh this, and I provide 1008 and click search, and now you can see I have the currency value along with 2 digits. And imagine if you do not want any kind of digits at the very end, probably all you have to do is just provide 0, which actually says that I do not need any currency with the decimal places, but instead I would like to have just the dollar symbol to be provided. And if I go back to my application, just provide 1008 and click search, and now you can see I have only the dollar symbol without having any decimal places. And you can provide pretty much anything, like I can provide USD with a space, which actually comes back in the same fashion. So again, I provide 1008 and click search, and now you can see I have USD. So in that way, we managed to cover uppercase, number, currency. So let us deal these dates. These look really scary actually. So let us format these particular dates in the best way possible. So let us go back to our documentation. Why? Because there are really numerous formats on how you can really have dates to be formatted. So you can see AngularJS documentation for date. So I go in here, and now you can see you can provide all these formats available, and there are really a ton. And in our case, for example, I would like to use medium, or this medium time or medium date, whatever you would like to have. So for example, let us consider I would like to use medium date. So how would I use medium date as part of my particular date? So first of all, you can see you have all the explanations and also the examples here. So you can see all you have to do is provide some value, and date is the filter, and this is the format you would like to maintain. So in this case, I can use this format to get this. I can use this format to get this. So all the samples are provided and the respective formats are also provided. You can just play them in whatever the way you want it. But for now, let us consider I would like to go with short date, for example. So I just copy this. I go back here, and where is my date? So in this case, higher date, all I will be saying is use the filter called date. However, I would like to use short date as my format. So I just save it and I go back to my application. I refresh it and 1008, click search, and now you can see I got something like 6693. So let me give a better one. Click 7. So this guy has been hired on 5/5. Is it really 5/5 or 6/6? Okay, so I get 130, that is 91. So if I would like to have something like June or something of that sort, probably we can find a better approach. In this case, probably long date seems to be fine for me. So let me see if long date or medium date is more suitable. So I just save this and I go back here and I provide 1003 and click search, and now you can see I have something like January 30, 1991. And imagine if you have time also, and imagine you would like to have even the time to be also formatted along with the date, then again I go back here and I will see whatever the best I can have. So probably medium can give me all the necessary formats in one go, or you can provide in your own way each and every particular part of the date and time to be provided in whatever the way you want it. You can use any of these formats together, or in simple just medium. So if I go for medium for the second one, so which is DOB, so that is date of birth, which also includes time in this case. So I provide date, however I'm saying medium. So let me go back and refresh this with 1003 and click search, and now you can see I also have the date, which is just date, and if you have date and time, you can see how you have all of that information automatically formatted. So now that we have seen a couple of things, like if you come down to the filter, you can see we have seen currency, date. We haven't seen lowercase, but it is pretty much similar to uppercase. So you have also seen number, but we haven't seen a couple of others like filtered and order by. Those two are something we really need to learn. So let me jump back to let me close this for a second. Let me jump back to my example. So I just wanted to keep this example as usual and instead jump to another example called A02. So this A02 is a bit different from A01. So in my opinion about A02, it is actually a grid. So which means I'm going to have multiple employees to be displayed in the form of a grid. So let me quickly open 02 here so that you can have a quick idea on how it looks like. Now you can see how it looks like. So all I have is just only a grid of all the rows. So in this case I have 10 employees provided in the form of, listed in the form of 10 rows. So I have all the data, and you can anyway at any one moment you can always format any of that information. For example, salary here, so I can just go back here and I have the salary, and all I can say is something like filter, and I can say currency, and as part of the currency I can say something like dollar, and at the same time probably 2 as my decimal place. So you can see it is available everywhere. So I just return back, and the moment I say that, you can see the salary is also formatted in such a way. But anyway, our priority is not just this guy, so let me remove this. So imagine I would like to have some kind of filter to be provided where the user can filter employee name or department number or something of that sort. So which means I should be able to have some kind of automatic client-side filtering to be happening. So which means imagine I would like to search all the employee names which have S in their names, for example, just the character S. So if such is the case, I can just use a filter called I have to use right here. So you can see this is my collection and I'm filtering my collection directly. So I can say filter is the filter name itself, and now I can say something like ename which actually contains s. So this is important. It will be evaluated in this fashion. So which means now this entire collection will be sent as an input to the filter. So now filter handles this employees as a collection. So in that collection, it actually searches for all those particular objects which has any kind of member like employee name which contains a value s. So let us see if this is working fine first. So let me go back and refresh this, and now you can see I have those particular employee names which have only s in there. So imagine I would like to have AS, so which means only 2 should be made available there. So I type in AS, so I refresh this, and now you can see I have only AS to be returned. And let us go back to S. So I have S, and now I can see like S is available here, S is available here, and also here. Now let us imagine I would like to search even the departments as well. So which means I would like to have all the employee names with the character S, but also the department number 20. So if such is the case, then I have to filter even for the member department 20. So I can provide something like department number is my object, and then I can say please search for 20. So this is an AND condition. So there will always be AND condition in between all of those members while you are searching for the necessary objects. So let me save this and refresh this, and now you should be able to see those particular employee names with only 20. But we are actually hard coding this information, so this is not a really intuitive, which means the user need to provide his own filter as part of this particular user interface. So which means probably I might say I need to have some kind of filter rename provided in the form of a text box there. The user can type in some information and it has to filter all those particular employee names accordingly. If such is the case, then you can use it dynamically as well. So for now, let us consider I would like to have only department number to be searched. So let me start from the beginning. So I just wanted to remove this whole part, or probably let me use it once again. However, I'm just going to comment this guy and remove my whole filter here. So which means all the employees will be shown at the moment. No filters applied. So all the employees will be shown. So I have all the employees right here. Okay, and okay. So let us go back. So imagine I would like to have a text box right inside or right above the table. So in this case, I would like to say something like quick department search or whatever. And in this case, I would like to have an input box to be provided where whatever the value you provide as part of the text box need to be made available into a scope field. And I am going to give that scope field as something like Q search department. So which means whatever the value you provide inside this text box will be automatically made available through this field, and this particular field will be automatically made available to your scope. So which means your scope will have it whether or not you like it. So, and now I don't really need to have any kind of filtering to be done there. Why? Because whatever the value you provide here will be made available here. Now I can make use of the same field right inside the filter right here. So now I can say I would like to have department number, which is actually supposed to get the value from this scope. So whenever you add this one, this will be added to your scope right here. And this value is actually being evaluated from the scope. So you can see this value will be pushed to scope and this value will be retrieved or pulled from the scope. So there is no direct relation between these two. However, these two will be working with the scope. This is the value pushing and this is the value pulling. So this is the value which will be pulled from the scope, and this is the value which will be pushed to the scope. So just save this and let us see if this is working. So I go back here, retrieve this, and now you can see I have a text box here. Let us jump in and say I would like to have 20, and now you can see I have 20 to be made available here, and I can say 10. You can see even 10 is also made available there. So in that way, you can quickly search for any of those particular fields available as part of your grade or anything in a dynamic fashion. But again, make sure that everything happens at the client side. No server side interactions will be made. So for example, if I go to network, and you can see the moment I type in 20, you can see I have 20 filtered, but no interaction or no communication is made happen to the server. So all this data and all the filters which are being applied by the AngularJS will be happening at the client side, and none of those really go to the server until and unless you write your own custom filters. But anyway, for now, I think we understood what exactly are the filters and what are all the filters which come with AngularJS by default.